everybody, and welcome back to the Blue, Blanc, Banter podcast here on both the Harry Rice YouTube channel and the HARDWIRED network. I am your host, Harry Rice, and wow, what a week for the Montreal Canadiens. This week's episode, I can tell you already, is going to be called In the Mix, because that is exactly what is going on with the Montreal Canadiens. We are in the mix for a playoff spot. The Montreal Canadiens have been playing great the past couple weeks, since we got Patrik, Laine, really. But just the way the Habs are playing is so good, so fun to watch. We had 3 games this week. We played the Vancouver Canucks all the way back on Monday. We played, as I'm recording this, last night on Friday against the Washington Capitals. And then Saturday, tonight, as I'm recording this, it was a game against the Dallas Stars. All 3 games went to extra time. It's 4 straight now for the Canadiens that have gone to extra time. And oh my God, 2 months ago, if you had told me that this team would be in the mix for a playoff spot, I would not have believed you for a single second. But now, oh man, this team looks ready to take that next step into being a playoff team. We are currently 2 points out with a game in hand on the Blue Jackets and 3 games in hand on the first seeded wildcard Boston Bruins. 3 points back of them with 3 games in hand. Oh boy, this looks very doable. And then not to mention the same amount of points, the Tampa Bay Lightning third in the East, in the Atlantic Division, but they have 2 games in hand on us. So right now we got to hope for the first wildcard spot. All right. So nothing else actually really to talk about aside from the games, so we're going to get into those. I guess technically there's something to talk about. It's more injury talk, but we'll get into that when the games come around. So the Vancouver game. The game on Monday, this was exclusive to Monday Night Prime, the Monday Night Hockey on Amazon Prime. This was the exclusive game for this week, and my God, am I happy that it is, because it was really, really fun. This was a really, really fun game. Just great back and forth action. Very physical. The first period was a very, very physical contest. The final hits in this game were 39-30 for the Canucks. Great back and forth game. Caden Gooley lays a hit in the opening minute, a huge hit, and then Caufield scores. He extends a scoring streak to 4 games. He just gets found open in the slot. It's a beauty of a shot. His 22nd of the year from Juraj Slafkovsky. And Nick Suzuki, he's been fantastic. He, I believe, now has a 9-game point streak after tonight's game. Either way, Suzuki has been fantastic for the Canadiens this year. Unfortunately, though, the Canucks would tie it up with the cancerous JT Miller off of a sort of beat-out icing. Not really. It just ends up finding JT Miller. He has a really good one-timer, and it would tie the game up. Caufield's goal came a minute, 7 seconds into the first. JT Miller's was at 10:47, by the way. That's how things would stand until the second period, where disaster would seemingly strike for the Montreal Canadiens as JT Miller, again, the cancer himself, would score another goal. It was a backhand on net. It's just off a rebound, and no one's there to get it in front, and it would be 2-1 Canucks, 3:21 in. At 3:41, Jonathan Lekkerimäki would make it 3-1 for the Canucks. Before the Canadiens knew it, they were in a hole. Down 3-1. It's a 2-on-1, but Lekkerimäki, just with a really, really nice bullet from the left side, basically, puts it past Montembeault for his second career NHL goal. Just a great goal, actually. Really good breakdown of the Canadiens there. And it looks like the Canadiens are going to lose this game. However, Caden Gooley would score at 10:35. Just a beautiful, beautiful shot from the blue line, and it just beats traffic. Nobody Nobody really sees it, that nobody, including the goaltender Thatcher Demko. It just beats him, and Montreal explodes. Goalie gets his third of the year from Carrier and Armia at 10:35. I was listening to highlights last night. I shouldn't say listening. I was watching to them. Obviously, I was watching them. Obviously, I was watching to them. Yes, no. And you can hear the difference between last year and this year. Last year, when we cheer, it'd be like, oh yeah, let's go, we scored a goal, yeah, woo. And this year, it is deafening. This team has hope. It's clear hope and belief when you hear the Canadiens crowd yelling the way they are when we're scoring right now. It's not just oh yeah, the team scored, I gotta cheer. There is clear, holy shit, we can make the playoffs. There is that amount of energy in the crowd, and it's just, mwah. I've missed that out of the Montreal faithful for the past couple seasons. I don't know what it is, but there's just something so good about playing in the Bell Center. That would be the score. It would be 3-2 for the Canucks after the second period. In the third, on a power play, very early on, almost sort of right off the face-off, but a little bit of setup, Montreal would score. Kirby Dach with a nice goal. He gets his sixth of the year. It's a nice rebound, actually, off of an initial Hudson shot. Just puts it 5-hole on Demko. That goal is scored from, again, Hudson and Suzuki. So Suzuki, with 2 points, he has two secondary assists in that game against the Canucks. That goal comes 2:01 into the third to tie it up, and 6:54 into the third. Laine, Hudson, my God, this guy scores even when he doesn't mean to. It's off of a turnover. He comes down the left wall, shoots it. Looks more like it's going for a pass. It goes off the inside of Demko's pad and in the net. Hudson with his third goal of the year, unassisted at 6:54. All of a sudden, it is a 4-3 Canadiens lead. However, unfortunately, that doesn't stand for too long, as a minute 57 later, Jake DeBrusk would get his 17th goal of the year. It's a power play goal for him. Yeah, it's just a really, really nice pass across from JT Miller. Fools everybody. Montembeau's getting screened by two players. He can't see it at all. And it ends up in the net. DeBrusk from Miller and Hughes at 8:51. And so, it's a tie game heading into overtime, obviously. If it's an overtime, obviously it's a tie game. But that would be your score into overtime. And it does not take long. It's a power play goal. Niels Hoglander had taken an interference against Anderson with about 48 seconds left. Nick Suzuki. Oh my God. Nick Suzuki. Just beautiful setup all around. Everybody's just so patient. Suzuki in the right circle, just under the right circle, just drags it and fires it on net. He gets his 12th of the year from Hudson and Caufield. Laine Hudson with 3 points. Nick Suzuki with 3 points. Cole Caufield with 2 points. Oh, and also JT Miller kind of had a 4-point night, but who cares about him? He's a Canuck. Phenomenal night for the Canadiens. A great, gutsy performance. Down 3-1, allow the 3 straight. Could have given up. Could have just said, hey, all right, whatever, next game we'll win. No, they keep fighting. They push it to overtime. They come back, and they win it. Great game for the Canadiens. They start the week off 1-0-0. And then we had a long break. Tuesday to Thursday we didn't play. We had to come back on Friday, where we would take on the Washington Capitals in a game that would also go to overtime. As you guys heard at the beginning of the pod, it's 3 straight games this week that go to overtime. It's 4 overall for the Canadiens. So, what would happen in this game? So, in the first period, 2:56 in, unassisted. It's a power play goal for Jacob Chychrun. Unfortunately, the Caps open the scoring. And unfortunately, it's not Ovechkin. I said it in a couple places before the game, but I would have much rather that that if it's Washington scoring, it's Ovechkin. He's the only guy that I wanted scoring for the Capitals, and unfortunately that wasn't the case. Chychrun, by the way, I should say Montembeault was in net for that first game where it was just a complete goal scorer fest. Dobesh was in this game, and my God, we can talk about Dobesh in a minute because holy shit. Just, my God, Jakub Dobesh. So, this game, Chychrun opens the scoring on a power play goal. Fantastic shot by Chychrun. Completely fools Dobesh. It's off a bad clearing attempt by Evans, and nobody recovers in time, unfortunately. By the way, Dobesh, through his first 3 games up to this point, has not allowed a 5-on-5 goal. He's allowed, I believe it's 2 power play goals is what he's allowed. So, that's your score heading into the second period, and it's looking a little shaky. It looked like it could have gotten out of hand, especially with how the Canadiens would take 2 very early penalties in the game. In the first 5 minutes, they took 2 penalties. However, they fought hard, and they came back. Despite the shots at one point, I think this is the game where the shots were like 5-2 Washington at one point. In the second period, it was all Canadiens. The final shots after this period, by the way, were 13-4 for the Canadiens. So how do they score? It's just a Cole Caufield, dude. This top line is fantastic for the Canadiens. Cole Caufield, he gets found right at the side of the net from Slavkovsky and Gooley. Caufield's 23rd of the year. He extends the scoring streak to 4 games. And he ties it up with a really sneaky shot. By the way, I should mention it was former Montreal Canadien Charlie Lindgren starting this game. However, he unfortunately would get pulled because it was Brendan Duhaime who shoves Nick Suzuki into the net about a minute into the second period. He didn't feel great, and he would end up going off after about another minute and a half of play, something like that. And Logan Thompson would end up coming in for the remainder of the game. So hopefully Lindgren's fine. Hopefully he's good. And that sucks that he was out. But thankfully for the Canadiens, it would end up being a good thing. So glad that Logan Thompson came in, but sucks that Lindgren got injured in the process. So Caufield would score about 2 minutes into Thompson going into the net at 4:56. And Josh Anderson decides to do something for once. My God, he scores a shorthanded goal off of a really nice pass at the slot. He just puts a backhand past Logan Thompson to give the Canadiens the lead. It's a completely unassisted goal, his 7th of the year at 13:22. Again, a shorthanded goal. Good for Josh Anderson. I can't be too happy, though, because I know that it's going to be his first for another 10 games, probably. So, yeah. 2-1 Canadiens would be your score heading into the third. We're very early on, 1:54 in, off of a really badly missed icing call. It should have been icing. Lars Eller gets his 8th of the year, I believe his 4th already as a Capital after being traded back there from Pittsburgh. Yeah, it's something that should have been called as an icing. It wasn't. Ethan Frank, great speed in the AHL. He's got really good speed. Dekes past Arbor Jacka and sets up Lars Eller. That is all Ethan Frank there. He was making his NHL debut in this game. And you might be wondering, well, who the hell is that? He's a 26-year-old who went completely undrafted. He has 20 goals in 35 games in the AHL this year. He has won back-to-back Calder Cups with the Hershey Bears in the AHL. So, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to be completely mad at him. He seems like a good talent. Hopefully he's able to pan out for the Capitals. He gets his first point with the Capitals in this game. And that would send it to overtime where Nick Suzuki is just such a beauty. This dude for 2 straight games with an overtime game-winning goal. This time, it's a 2-on-1 with Caufield. He tries to put it off of, I forget who 17 is. I think it might be Mangiapane. It gets right back to him, and he just puts it home. What did we do to deserve Nick Suzuki, dude? We have not seen a guy like this who's so good, yet so not invisible, but so like responsible in his own zone. Since like Saku Koivu, like Nick Suzuki is such a good first line center, and it's hilarious how there are people out there who will say that he's not a first line center. But if you watch Canadiens games, you know that he is. He scores at 1:15 into overtime, his 13th of the year from Caufield and Hudson. So Hudson and Caufield keep their streaks alive. Caufield with the 5-game goal streak. Which brings us to tonight. Habs 2-0-0 in this week, heading into tonight's game against the Dallas Stars, who have won 6 in a row coming into tonight. I also want to mention it's the return of Patrik Laine and David Savard to the lineup, thankfully. So Michael Pezzetta and Jaden Struble, thankfully, going to sit for Laine and Savard, respectively. It would take a long time for this score to be opened. It was a fantastic goalie battle, I want to say. This game was really, really good, really entertaining. Quite frankly, neither goalie deserved to lose, especially with how they played. With Montembeault, how well he played in the first, and how well, even like in the third, I would say, and how good Ottinger played in the second and the third once Montreal started really getting shots. Yeah, it would take a long time to open the scoring. So long, in fact, I thought this game might have gone to overtime scoreless. But, alas, it would not, because who else would score on a power play for the Montreal Canadiens in his return to the lineup? Patrik Laine, his 9th of the year. It was actually on a 2-man advantage. It was actually on a 5-on-3. The Stars have the, I believe they said, the best penalty kill in the NHL. Don't know how much that costs for 5-on-3s, but it's a Laine goal. It's a one-timer from the left side. He gets that, his 9th of the year, his 9th in 14 games, by the way. So good is Patrik Laine. He now has 9 goals, 11 points in 14 games with the Canadiens. And just a reminder, we were given a second-round pick to take on this contract, and all we had to give up was bum-ass Jordan Harris. I like Harris, but oh my god. Dude was not playing. Like, that's all we had to give up for Patrik Laine was a third-round pick in 2018, basically. Like, I love Ken Hughes and Jeff Gordon so much. Laine scores from Suzuki and Hudson, so Hudson keeps a point streak going. I believe he is now on a 9-game point streak. I know Suzuki's on a big point streak. I can check that out in a second. No, it's a 3-game point streak. He has 5 points in his last 3 games. So Lane Hudson is just tearing it up right now in the NHL. Just a reminder that people thought he would not be good. Hell yeah. Nick Suzuki, meanwhile, is on a... he's actually not on a 9-game point streak. He's on a 6-game point streak. He has 7 points in his last 6 games. He's currently on pace, by the way, I believe, for point per game, 100%. I think he's on pace for 83 or 84 points over the rest of the year. But, yeah. So Laine opens the scoring on the power play from Suzuki and Hudson at 15-14. However, unfortunately, it doesn't last too long, as 2 minutes and 20 seconds later at 17-34, Jamie Benn scores his 12th of the year from Maverick Bourque, who's been in trade talks involved with the Canadiens, actually. Jamie Benn scores. He had gotten a partial break earlier in the period where he went lower toward the pads, and Monty easily saved it. This time he goes up high and he does score on that. Unfortunately, it is a tie game, which would bring us to the shootout. Yeah, no scoring in the third, overtime. Mike Matheson, I just want him gone. Like, if we have the option to trading Matheson or Savard, I would much rather trade Mike Matheson, because this guy just hurts to watch half the time, and the other half the time, I don't feel anything. with 30 seconds left, this guy's on the ice, which already pisses me off because he's taking ice time away from Laine Hudson there. But he's on the ice, and he's back. He's in his own zone because the Canadiens are out. Okay, smart. Okay, he's going to be the defenseman. He's going to be back. Nick Suzuki's joining, going up the ice around the middle. He's got 2 stars on him. So naturally, instead of being the man back and allowing Suzuki to make a pass back to you, Matheson tries to cut up the right side, where Suzuki then has to try and force a pass to him, because if he passes back, it's probably a 2-on-0. And Matheson misses the puck, and it's a 2-on-1 instead. Luckily, Matt Duchene misses the net. I don't like Mike Matheson. I've made it known, I feel like. And I don't like Josh Anderson. If we could trade them both, I would really like that. So in the shootout, Patrik Laine is the first shooter, and unfortunately, it's just stopped. A really, really nice deke there, but Ottinger stays all the way with him. Montreal was explosive for Laine. They really hoped he would score. However, he would not, and Jason Robertson, he would score. Just goes up high on Montembeault. Good shot, good goal. Caufield is second, and he gets a good deke, but just can't put it on the 5-hole. Ottinger is able to make the save. Wyatt Johnson's out for the Stars. He gets stopped by Montembeault. Nick Suzuki's the third man out to either to tie it up and hope for the win. Well, try and get the Canadiens to win, you know what I mean. Or to win it for the Stars unintentionally. And Suzuki, it stopped. It's a good chance, good shot, but just Ottinger makes the save. Stars win 2-1 in the shootout. Again, a complete goalie duel. The shots in this game were 35-31 for the Stars. They had 16 shots in the first period. I thought this game could have gotten ugly in the shot department. Weirdly enough, despite getting outshot 16-7, I thought the Habs actually had a good first period, by the way, tonight. I think that they had a relatively good game. A relatively good first period of the game. Because we still got shots. We got really good chances. We even blocked a lot of chances that could have gone towards Montembeault. Montembeault was fantastic. He's showing why he should be the starter. And yeah, it was just a pure goalie duel. I literally just need to tell you the shots and you could tell. So yeah, the Canadiens, pretty good week, honestly. 2-0-1. Obviously would have preferred to be that 3-0-0 and be outside of the playoffs by a point with the game in hand on the Blue Jackets and 2 back of the Bruins with 3 games in hand. I would have preferred that. But the Canadiens have almost no pressure right now. They have all the games in hand on everybody they can realistically catch. I guess technically except for Tampa, but we're not going for third in the Atlantic anyways. We'd rather face the Leafs over the the Panthers, because the Panthers are legitimately scary, unlike the Maple Leafs. But yeah, we have a game in hand on the Blue Jackets with 2 points back, and we'd have the extra wins to justify it. And again, 3 points back of Boston, who's the team that we're realistically chasing. 3 points back with 3 games in hand. Boston has been kind of shaky recently, especially their last 10. They're 3-6-1. Habs are 7-2-1. If things keep trending this way, it's looking like it's going to be Montreal in the playoffs. And I am going to be so happy about that. I don't care if we get swept in the first round, go all the way to the finals, anywhere in between. Making the playoffs would be a huge step up for this Canadiens team, especially a team that was supposed to be just competitive by January and February. If we get into the playoffs and we're in that spot by the time the season ends, holy shit, this team is going to be so good for the future, man. And we don't even have Ivan Demidov, Michael Hage, Jacob Fowler, David Reinbacher, Logan Mailloux. We don't even have any of these guys on the team yet. Philip Mazar, Joshua Waugh. I could keep going on probably. We don't have half the guys that are probably going to be a mainstay on this team yet. And we're already looking good. Whew, Montreal. Oh my god, what a week for us. And Jakub Dobeš, man, in 4 games that this guy has played, I don't know why they show it as 4. 4 games played. I'm pretty sure that's a glitch because I know he's only played 3, but it says that it's 4. 3-0-0 record, a 0.97 goals against average, and a 959 save percentage. Jakub Dobeš is looking legit. Now, obviously, and unfortunately, those numbers aren't going to stay there for the remainder of the season. I don't think he's going on an Andrew Hammond run. If he does, I'll be happy. As long as he, doesn't pull an Andrew Hammond and then completely suck the next year. Only to rebound like 7 years later with Montreal. So good, in fact, they had to trade him to stop making it, to make it a little more fair for the other teams that they were playing. But, fun fact, Hammond, I'm pretty sure, was also 3-0-0 with the Canadiens before his trade. So, hopefully Dobeš doesn't get traded right now. But, the weird thing is if he somehow does stay this consistent, again, it's not happening, but if he somehow does, he's an RFA at the end of this season. I don't know what type of contract they'd offer him or what type of contract Dobeš would want, but this should be very fun to watch. I don't know, again, I don't know what is going to happen. If it's going to be if he plays this way for the rest of the year, say he finishes with like a 1.47 and like a 936, if he's going to want a 7-year, $8 million deal, or if the Canadiens are going to, or if he's going to be like, hey, look, it's one good year, I'll take a bridge deal at like $2-3 million, I'll take like a Montembeault deal to show that I can do this again. I don't know what type of deal he'd get offered, but holy shit, I'm excited to see what it is. Like, and then July 1st, you can extend Hudson and Laine if you want. Like, this team's offseason is going to be extremely fun once you get there. It's going to be a fun half year for the Canadiens. Because, again, the race for the playoffs that they're in the mix for right now. The draft. What the hell do we do with our first round picks? Do we trade them? Do we keep them? Do we flip one, keep one? Like, what do we do there? And I have a theory about that. I can get into it a later time probably. Free agency. Are the Canadiens going to go after any big free agents? I know they said that this upcoming offseason is the year they would probably start looking at big name free agents for long term. And just signings. Again, some of the guys that they have to sign, if I can look at cap wages. After this year, Armia's up if he's still with the team. Evans, of course. Emil Heineman. Struble, who right now I can't imagine gets qualified. Dobeš, of course. Harvey Pinard, does he get qualified? Sean Farrell. A couple guys like William Trudeau. Caden Primos. Exciting to see what happens there. Connor Hughes is probably going to Europe. That's something minor to mention. And then guys that are expiring next year who you can start extending and talking to at least. Lane Hutson. Kirby Dach. Arbor Jacki. Patrik Laine. I really want to say Carey Price, but I know he's not coming back, unfortunately. But Joshua, Logan Mailloux are also guys that you can start talking to. I'm really excited to see what this team does for their long-term contracts. Dach, I don't imagine gets extended until after next season, just to show management that he's worth more than what they probably offer him right now. So, yeah. Getting back to the original thing, Dobeš looking fantastic. How many games will he start this week? I'm thinking it's a 2-2 split. Now, why is that? Because we play 4 games this week. So I will say, I'm not going to be live, not technically live. I'm not going to be recording the pod on the Saturday next week. I'll do it on the Sunday, just to make it easier, and because it's going to be a 4-game week, one of the days I record anyways, or one of the next 2 weeks anyways, so might as well make it the next week, or this week, I should say. So who do we play this upcoming week? We play Utah, the Utah Hockey Club. We are in Utah. That is a 9 p.m. start on Tuesday, so admittedly, that's going to suck a little bit. Thursday, we are in Dallas to play the Stars again, so that's going to be a fun rematch from tonight. Hopefully, Hopefully it's Dobesh and whoever the backup is. I forget who it is. Just because I think that'd be fun. Have the starters play one game, have the backups play the other. I think it'd be fun. So either way, I'd assume Dobesh gets one of those 2 games. Maybe they play him Tuesday, let Montembeault rest, and Monty plays Thursday. However, Dobesh is guaranteed a game for sure because we play the Maple Leafs at home on Saturday, and then the Rangers at home on Sunday. So that's a back-to-back for the Canadiens. A very winnable week, if you ask me. Utah right now is kind of middling, unfortunately. I say that just because I really wanted Utah in the playoffs. I think that would have been cool. And the Rangers are looking like complete dog shit. Past, 25 games, they're like 4-19-2. It has been disastrous for the Rangers. Leafs are good. I'll say the Leafs are a good team. And, of course, the Stars, they did beat us tonight, but it was extremely close. So realistically could get a 2-2 week. I'm hoping for a 3-1 week. We probably are going to lose one. If I'd imagine which one, it's probably the Stars game. Hopefully the Utah and Rangers games we can win, because those are indeed very winnable games right now with the way those teams are playing. And plus, especially with how the last week of January is. Especially with how the last, it's technically 2 weeks of January are, with us playing the Lightning, the Red Wings, the Devils, the Jets, and the Wild, who are all looking good. We're going to need a little bit of leeway, especially playing the Red Wings. We're definitely going to need that little bit of a leeway before we get onto what looks like could be a bit of an easy California road trip, actually. And actually, yeah, so we play those guys. It's the California road trip, which 2 of them are late games, which I want to... Oh, I hate those. And then our last 2 games are a back-to-back early 1 p.m. starts. It's the Devils and the Lightning, both at home for Super Bowl weekend. And then we are off for the Four Nations Cup. I don't know what I'm going to do for that. I don't think I'm going to come up for a Bleu Blanc Banter pod to cover those games. Maybe what I'll do is I'll do a Harry Rice exclusive or a HARDWIRED exclusive. I don't know yet. Talking about the games. So the Four Nations Cup, I will definitely be trying to watch as much of it as I can. Thankfully, it's in Montreal and Boston, so you're not going to be seeing any 8 a.m. start times, thankfully. They're all going to be very normal, probably 4 to 7 p.m. starts. I don't know if the full schedule has been released with the times, but yeah. So next couple weeks are going to be very, very interesting for the Montreal Canadiens heading into the Four Nations, where hopefully Samuel Montembeault will be the starting goalie for Team Canada. Suzuki and Caufield got snubbed big time, but Laine and Armia are both on Team Finland, and Montembeault is probably the starting goalie for Team Canada. Those are the 3 guys from the Habs that made it as of right now. So yeah, that is all for today's pod, actually. Yeah, surprisingly, no trades. There's some trade talks, but it's the same stuff of... Oh, Savard's probably gone at the deadline. Oh, will Evans get extended? Which, there's varying reports, but the talk right now is that, yeah, he probably will be. So, that's good. Fingers crossed there. So, yeah, again, it's just more of the standard trade talk. So, we're going to end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching the 5th episode of the Bleu Blanc Banter podcast. I hope to see you guys again next week. Once again, we are here on Sunday, not the Saturday. So, we're here on the Sunday for the next recap of the Montreal Canadiens season thus far. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I've gotten a decent amount of reviews. A decent amount of views, I should say. We did have a couple comments on the last episode that Suzuki had gotten one more in overtime from Hockey Unreal and put it Dobesh, which, yeah, Dobesh looking great. And Marcus Hunt, my boy, saying the Rice Man, absolutely. So I just want to cover those comments very quickly. Yeah, so those are the comments we got on the last video. Thank you guys again for watching. My name is Harry Rice, or PM Rice if you're on Hardwired. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're on the Harry Rice channel, check out the links in the description. If you're on Hardwired, if this is your first time checking out either channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment, and I'll try and read it in the next episode if I remember. Yeah, always remember, no matter how bad we are like last year, how damn good we are like this year. Go Habs, go. And yeah, Montreal's looking like they're a playoff team. They're definitely in the race. I'm quite excited about that. My name is Harry Rice, and I am out. See you guys next week. Go Habs, go, baby. Let's go. Hell yeah.